You're lying in bed. Lights off, phone at 3% because of course it is. You open your banking app, not dramatically, just habit, and there it is. One of your debts is gone. Zeroed out, paid, finished, done. Credit card, car loan, personal loan, whatever it was, it's finally gone. You stare at the screen a little longer than necessary, just to make sure it doesn't blink and turn back into a number with a minus sign. You feel lighter, smarter, like maybe, just maybe, you've cracked something most people don't. You did the hard part. You cut spending. You said no to things. You watched other people treat themselves while you paid interest like it was a subscription you forgot to cancel. And now you've hit the milestone, the payoff number, the moment everyone online promises will change your life. And for about 12 minutes, it does. Then the system wakes up. Your credit score updates. Your bank sends a congratulations email that feels weirdly enthusiastic. Your app suggests a new opportunity now that your balance is lower. A balance transfer offer pops up. A pre-approved loan slides into your inbox. Your credit limit quietly increases without asking you. And somewhere in your brain, a thought appears that didn't exist yesterday. Well, if I handle that debt, I can probably handle a little more. That's the catch. Because paying off debt feels like winning. But the rules change the moment you do. The system doesn't reward you with freedom. It rewards you with access. And most people don't lose financially because they never pay off debt. They lose because they pay it off and then unknowingly step right back into a better designed version of the same trap. That's what we're talking about today. The debt payoff order banks hope you never learn. Not because it's illegal, not because it's secret, but because once you understand it, their favorite ending stops working. Here's the problem. Humans are wired for finish lines, gold stars, before and after photos. Finally, debt-free, posed to the sunset in a coffee mug. Debt payoff feels like climbing a mountain. You grind, you sweat, you reach the top. But money isn't a mountain. It's a roller coaster. Most people think the goal is pay it off. That's the finish line in their head. But debt isn't the disease. It's the symptom. The real issue is cash flow plus behavior over time. And paying off debt doesn't fix that automatically. It just removes one pressure point. According to Federal Reserve, nearly 40% of adults can't cover a $400 emergency without borrowing. Not because they're lazy, not because they're bad people, but because life keeps charging admission. So when someone finally pays off a debt, their brain expects relief to last. It expects stability. It expects the problem to be over. Instead, what happens? Life keeps happening. The car still breaks. Medical bills still show up uninvited. Prices still do that fun thing where they go up for no reason anyone can explain with a straight face. And if you paid off debt without changing the order of how you handle money, you're standing on the same financial ground, just without armor. That's why so many people say things like, I paid off my credit card 3 times. I don't even know how I got back into debt. I was doing great. Then everything fell apart. You're not broken. That's almost everyone. The system is very good at making progress feel like permission. Permission to relax. Permission to spend. Permission to stop paying attention. And if you follow the payoff order most banks quietly encourage, that permission is exactly what puts you back where you started. My name is Peter. I'm not a guru. I'm not selling a course. I don't think yelling at your latte is a wealth strategy. I'm just obsessed with how money actually works, especially the parts that feel boring, unfair, or intentionally confusing. Quick disclaimer before we go further. This video is for education and entertainment only. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't know your situation. Talk to a qualified professional before making financial decisions. Cool? Cool. Now let's talk about why the order you pay off debt matters more than how fast you do it. There are 2 phases nobody warns you about. Phase 1, the grind phase. This is where most debt advice lives. Attack the balance. Throw everything at it. Beans and rice until it's gone. And to be fair, this phase matters. You're focused. You're motivated. You feel every dollar leave your account. Debt is the enemy. Freedom is the prize. But here's what no one tells you. Phase 1 is loud. Phase 2 is quiet. And Phase 2 is where people lose. Phase 2 starts the moment the debt disappears. Your monthly payment frees up. Your budget suddenly has breathing room. Your stress drops just enough to feel safe. And that's when the psychological traps kick in. After scarcity, reward feels earned. After discipline, indulgence feels justified. Your brain says, I prove I'm responsible. I deserve flexibility now. I can always pay it off again. Banks love this moment. They don't aggressively market to people drowning in debt. They wait. They wait until you look stable. Then they offer convenience. Then they frame debt as a tool. Then they sell you smart leverage. Credit apps gamify spending. Points, cashback, limited time offers. And suddenly debt doesn't look like danger. It looks like control. This isn't conspiracy. It's incentives. Interest makes money. Transaction volume makes money. Long-term independence does not. So the system quietly nudges you toward the payoff order that resets the cycle. Pay off debt first, then reward yourself, then deal with emergencies later. Because emergencies plus no buffer equal debt every time. The banks don't need you to fail. They just need you to restart. Let's talk math. Boring math. The kind that doesn't care about motivation. Say you aggressively pay off a $5,000 credit card. Great. Huge win. But you did it with zero emergency fund. 2 months later, your car needs a $1,200 repair. What happens? Statistically, most people put it right back on a card. Now you're not irresponsible. You're just exposed. Compare that to someone who pauses payoff briefly to build a $1,500 buffer. Same income, same debt, different order. One restarts the cycle. The other absorbs a hit. Vanguard studies show that investor behavior, not market returns, is the biggest drag on long-term results. People underperform by about 1.5 to 2% per year, simply due to timing, panic, and inconsistency. Debt works the same way. It's not about optimal math. It's about preventing resets. The safest strategy isn't the one that looks fastest on paper. It's the one that survives real life. Boring wins because boring doesn't break. Let me tell you about Alex and Jordan. Alex hates debt. Always has. Alex throws every spare dollar at balances. Snowball, avalanche, doesn't matter. Alex gets a rush. The payoff screenshots. The finally free feeling. But Alex never builds a buffer. So when life hits, and it always does, Alex reaches for credit. Not recklessly, just practically. Over time, Alex pays off the same debts again and again. Progress feels exhausting. Hope fades. Jordan does it differently. Jordan sets one rule early. No payoff without protection. Before accelerating debt payments, Jordan builds a small emergency fund. Not 6 months. Not perfection. Just enough to stop bleeding. Then Jordan pays off high-interest debt aggressively, but keeps the buffer intact. When life hits, Jordan doesn't flinch. No cards. No panic. According to Fidelity, households with even modest emergency savings are significantly less likely to rely on high-interest debt during crises. Same income, same discipline, different order. Alex feels busy. Jordan feels stable. And stability compounds faster than motivation ever will. So here's the playbook. Simple, unsexy, effective. Build a small buffer before you go full attack mode. Think of it as armor, not savings. $1,000 to $2,000 changes everything. Kill high-interest debt aggressively after the buffer exists. This is where intensity belongs. Treat paid-off debt like a locked door, not an open invitation. Zero balance is not permission. Add a growth layer only once the floor is solid. Savings, investing, options are be suspicious of anything that congratulates you and offers financing in the same sentence. That's the rich tax no one calls a tax. Here's the mindset shift. Debt payoff isn't the finish line. It's the floor. Freedom isn't about having zero balances for a moment. It's about building a system that doesn't collapse the next time life sneezes. The real catches this. Banks don't fear you paying off debt. They fear you not needing it again. So protect your first win like it's a foundation, not the finale. Because once you stop restarting, the game finally changes. And that's exactly what the system is counting on you never figuring out.